Absolutely. Switching gears, gentlemen, as a result of litigation filed by Bloomberg and Fox Business, for the first time in history, the Federal Reserve was forced to cough up documents that it mightily resisted and tried very hard to keep secret. Congressman Kucinich, were you surprised that in a 3-month period, the Federal Reserve Bank, created out of thin air and distributed to banks and businesses and governments across the globe $3.3 trillion, more money than the annual budget of the United States of America and about 25% of America's gross national product, gone, created and out there in 2 months?
Well, Congressman Paul and I have been talking about this for years. The lack of accountability on the part of the Fed, no transparency, the fact that they can, through a device called quantitative easing, create money out of nothing, and then that ends up inevitably, in one way, shape, or form, being backed by the full faith and credit of the United States. The Fed clearly is out of control. We have to find mechanisms to bring it back under control, and I think we could start by looking at that Federal Reserve Act of 1913. That was absolutely disastrous for this country. The Fed has to be brought back under the control of the Congress, which has the ability to do it.
Congressman Paul, you have made it your career to expose the Fed, to have the Fed audited, and eventually to have the Fed go away. Do things like this, courageous federal judges forcing the Fed to show its ledger books, help move the ball forward to expose what the Fed is really like?
Yes, it's wonderful, because I've been pessimistic. Even when Fox and Bloomberg filed these suits, I was sort of pessimistic, because if you look at it, and I know you have, historically the courts have been very favorable to central banking, and
yes,
not, when you look at the gold clause and all, they always ruled against the people. This time, we got a break here, and the momentum is great, and philosophically, the education is moving along to expose the Fed for the fallacies, both morally and economically. So I think we're making great strides, and we should keep pursuing this. And this is partial, but we still have to get a full audit of the Fed, because I am quite sure when the full audit is known and we find out exactly what they've been doing, most Americans are going to be outraged. And transparency now is very popular, and it's a bipartisan issue. So I hope we can keep this momentum up. And thanks to interviewers and individuals on Fox Business, we've been helped a great deal.
Congressman Kucinich, why should the average person be disturbed, concerned, or fearful that the Fed created $3.3 trillion out of thin air and put it into the monetary system?
Well, first of all, it's who they gave it to. Secondly, it's that, except for this lawsuit, we would know about it. Third is that they have the privilege of creating money, and we're in a system where money is debt, and eventually, in one way, shape, or form, it'll get translated into debt, and people are it's going to come out of everyone's pocket. Because Wall Street, as we know, exists as a way of just trying to transfer all that money to themselves, and then if they go bust, they get bailed out by the government, which means the taxpayers. So we ought to be concerned, because inevitably, it's our money.
If you add, go ahead,
Judge, printing money is literally counterfeit, and if you equate it to counterfeit, the founders hated counterfeit. In the Kucinich Act of 1792, they said that if you counterfeit the currency of the nation, you deserve the death penalty. But here we just casually accept, well, the Federal Reserve, we don't know who they are, but they always do good things. We'll let them counterfeit. But hopefully that's coming to an end.
Look, if you add $3.3 trillion to the monetary supply in the fall of 2008, is it any wonder, I ask this to both of you, that in the spring of 2011, the price of everything is going up? Too much money chasing too few goods. It's an economics 101, almost textbook definition of the cause of inflation. Congressman Kucinich, and then Congressman Paul.
In listening to what you said, something occurs to me. I mean, the money hasn't been used to create jobs. It's being used to create more wealth for a few people.
Right.
That is a huge problem for a democracy.
Congressman Paul.
And this is absolutely true. When you create money, you don't create wealth, you push prices up. But the real unfairness of this is all prices and all labor does not go up evenly. Some wages go up, profits go up on Wall Street. Real wages actually go down as prices rise. So that is why it's so evil and sinister and immoral, and it's unconstitutional. And we're coming to the day with the monetary crisis that's coming. We're going to come to the day where we are going to have monetary reform, and hopefully we can participate in doing something very positive in that area.
Are you two in trouble with the leadership of your parties for appearing together on the same camera and the same program?
Let's hope not. If we are, Judge, we're coming for you.
I love you both, Congressman Dennis Kucinich, Congressman Ron Paul. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.